Welcome to my YouTube channel Timeless Tales. Aisha pushed through the glass doors of Maple Corner Café, the familiar chime announcing her arrival to the warm, coffee-scented interior. She wasn't supposed to be here today. This was supposed to be her Saturday off, a chance to catch up on reading and maybe visit the farmer's market downtown. But her sister Sarah had called at 7 in the morning, her voice thick with congestion. "Aisha, I'm so sorry," Sarah had whispered into the phone. "I can barely stand up. Could you possibly cover my shift? I know it's your day off, but..." "Don't worry about it," Aisha had replied, already reaching for her jeans. "I'll be there in an hour." Now, as she tied the cafe's signature green apron around her waist, Aisha surveyed the afternoon crowd. The Saturday regulars were all here: Mrs. Patterson with her crossword puzzle at the corner table, the college students with their textbooks spread across the communal table, and the young mother bouncing her toddler while nursing a latte. But it was the man at table 3 who caught her attention. He sat alone, his dark hair slightly tousled as if he'd been running his fingers through it. A laptop sat open before him, steam rising from his coffee cup in delicate spirals. He wore a crisp white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, a black tie loosened at the collar, and a watch that caught the afternoon sunlight streaming through the large windows. There was something about the way he held himself, the careful precision of his movements as he typed, that seemed oddly familiar. Aisha couldn't quite place it, but she felt a strange flutter of recognition in her chest. "Table 3 needs a refill," called Marcus from behind the espresso machine. "He's been here since noon, working on something important by the looks of it." Aisha grabbed the coffee pot and approached the table. As she drew nearer, she could see scattered papers beside his laptop, what looked like architectural drawings and blueprints. The man looked up as she approached, and Aisha felt her breath catch. His eyes were a deep green, intelligent and kind, with smile lines that suggested he laughed often. "More coffee?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. "Please," he said, pushing his cup toward her. His voice was warm, professional but not cold. "I don't usually camp out in cafes like this, but there's something about this place. The atmosphere helps me think." Aisha poured carefully, trying not to let her curiosity show too obviously. "What kind of work are you doing, if you don't mind me asking?" He gestured to the papers. "I'm an architect. These are plans for a new community center downtown. It's been a challenging project, trying to balance modern functionality with the historic character of the neighborhood." "That sounds important," Aisha said, and she meant it. There was something in his voice when he talked about his work, a passion that she found compelling. "It is to me," he replied, then looked up at her with a slight smile. "I'm sorry, I don't think we've met. I'm usually served by Sarah. Is she all right?" Aisha's heart skipped. He knew Sarah. Of course he did. He was clearly a regular, someone her sister had served many times. But there was something in the way he said her name, a gentleness that made Aisha wonder. "She's sick today. I'm Aisha, her sister. I'm filling in." His expression changed subtly, a light of recognition dawning in his eyes. "Aya," he repeated, as if testing the name. "Sarah's told me about you. You're the teacher, right? 3rd grade." Aisha nodded, surprised by how much he seemed to know. "She's mentioned me." "More than mentioned," he said, and there was something almost shy in his smile now. "She's told me quite a lot about you, actually. About your students, your volunteer work at the literacy center, your love of old movies." A warm blush crept up Aisha's neck. "She talks too much." "I don't think so," he said quietly. "I'm David, by the way. David Chen. Nice to meet you, David." They looked at each other for a moment, the cafe noise fading into the background. Aisha felt drawn to stay, to keep talking, but she was aware of other customers needing attention. "I should let you get back to your work," she said reluctantly. "Aisha," he called as she turned to go. When she looked back, he seemed to be gathering his courage. "Would you like to sit for a minute? I mean, if you can take a break. I'd like to hear about your teaching. Sarah says you have incredible patience with your students." Aya glanced around the cafe. The afternoon rush had died down, and Marcus was handling the counter easily. She found herself nodding. Just for a few minutes. She slid into the chair across from him, and David closed his laptop, giving her his full attention. Up close, she could see the careful detail in his architectural drawings, the precise lines and thoughtful annotations. "Tell me about the community center," she said. His face lit up. "It's going to serve the families in the Riverside district. There'll be after-school programs, adult education classes, a small library branch. The city wants something that feels welcoming but also durable enough to handle heavy use." "That sounds wonderful. Those families really need something like that. You know the area. Some of my students live there. Their parents work multiple jobs, and there's nowhere safe for the kids to go after school. A community center would change everything for them." David leaned forward, his eyes intent. "What would you want to see in a place like that? From a teacher's perspective." And so they talked. About children and learning spaces, about the importance of natural light in classrooms, about creating environments that felt safe and inspiring. Aisha found herself sketching ideas on a napkin: quiet reading nooks, flexible spaces that could accommodate different activities, places where parents could wait comfortably. "You have a good eye for this," David said, studying her rough sketches. "These ideas, they're exactly what the space needs. I just know kids," Aya replied. "And I know what it's like to need a place to belong." Something in her voice made David look at her more carefully. "Sarah mentioned that you two had it rough growing up." Aisha nodded. "Our mom worked 3 jobs after Dad left. We spent a lot of time in places like libraries and community centers, anywhere with heat and books and adults who cared. Places like that, they save kids." David was quiet for a moment, then he pulled out his phone. "Would you mind if I took a picture of your sketches? I'd like to incorporate some of these ideas if you're okay with that." "You don't have to do that. I want to. These aren't just good ideas, they're necessary ones." As David photographed her napkin sketches, Aisha felt a warmth spreading through her chest that had nothing to do with the coffee. There was something special about being heard, about having her thoughts valued by someone who could actually act on them. "Aisha," David said carefully, "I hope this doesn't sound presumptuous, but would you like to have dinner sometime? I mean, when Sarah's feeling better and you're not covering shifts." Aisha felt her heart flutter again. "I'd like that. Tomorrow night. There's a quiet place downtown. Nothing fancy, but they have great pasta and we could talk more about, well, whatever you want to talk about." "Tomorrow sounds perfect." As Aisha stood to return to work, David caught her hand gently. "Aisha, thank you for today, for the ideas, for the conversation. Sarah was right about you." "What did she say?" David's smile was soft and genuine. "That you were exactly the kind of person I needed to meet." Aisha felt a puzzle piece clicking into place. Her sister's mysterious smiles lately, her insistence that Aisha should visit the cafe more often, her convenient illness today. Sarah hadn't been sick at all, had she? "I think," Aisha said slowly, "my sister is going to have a lot of explaining to do." David laughed, a warm sound that seemed to fill the space between them. "Remind me to send her flowers." As Aisha returned to her work, she found herself humming softly. The afternoon light had shifted, casting the cafe in a golden glow, and everything seemed touched with possibility. At table 3, David had reopened his laptop, but she caught him glancing up at her with that same gentle smile. Sometimes, Aisha thought as she wiped down tables and served coffee, the best things happened when you weren't looking for them. When you were just showing up for someone you loved, doing what needed to be done. And sometimes, your sister knew exactly what you needed, even when you didn't know it yourself. Thanks for watching these type of videos. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you.